when I knew that you could care. So taunt me and hurt me, deceive me, desert me.
First of all, thanks so much for joining me. I'm a giant Descendents fan, a giant All fan, all that stuff. And I can't wait for this new record to come out. Ninth and Walnut coming out July 23rd. And first and foremost, I think the history of punk is sort of colored by these mad, eccentric genius types. People like Iggy Pop and Dee Dee Ramone, who just can't really function in society so well, but they're geniuses at their art. I think Frank Navetta from the Descendents, the original guitarist, is absolutely one of those people. What do you say?
Yeah, I think Frank Navetta is one of those people.
Yeah.
As you know, as well as Tony, I've been fortunate to have ridden around in vans with so many of them. I feel like Mike Watt from the Minutemen is that way. Mm-hmm. Greg Ginn. I think, yeah. I just learned so much from those people because they have a take on life that's uncommon and very advanced, I guess we could say, or just they see more than other people see. We kind of just sat on these tapes for a long time, because we did that in 2002. We sat on these tapes for a long time, and I don't know why we did, but we just did. So I dug up the hard drives and I dug through the old takes, and I kind of did the way you might do on a jazz album where you edit a few takes together. And so there I was in my basement, kind of scouring through these takes, and Tony fucked up there, and I fucked up there. And it was just like, it was just, what I'm trying to get at is it was just flooding these memories of when I was a little kid. Me and Frank were 15, Yeah. And when Frank wrote some of those, he was 14 for sure. And, Tony wasn't as young as us, but it was, his youthful energy was on par with us. He had more energy than we did, and more youthfulness in a lot of ways. And so it was just sitting there doing that. And then when I would send them, Milo has a little recording thing in his house, in his basement. When I get one done, I'd send it out to him, and he'd send me back the vocals. And then I'd start mixing it. And once I had, the music and the vocals, and I was just sitting there like, I kept calling Tony, like, Tony, remember that time when your bass amp broke and Fear wouldn't let us use their bass amp? Like just these little things from when you were a kid. And it was the most colossal walk down memory lane of my childhood that I could have ever possibly imagined.
I learned from the Filmage documentary that when Frank left the band not too long after, he burned all his guitars and moved to Oregon, starting this whole process again in 2002. Can you tell me about his inclusion in this, back when he was still around?
Frank would show up, and even when we lived in Lomita, so 87, 88, 89, he'd show up and just sleep on the floor in the little practice room with the rest of us. And we'd go fishing a lot, and we'd jam. And at one point he had a little side band going with some people in the these were like burned out office units in the little office unit next to ours. And so we were never really estranged, at all. So 2002, we finally got together and recorded all of our old songs. The reason we never recorded them before is because when we first started to play, we didn't really think we were good enough to try to do an album or to try to be like a real band. My dad paid for that first 7-inch to get made, Ride the Wild, that doesn't really sound like us, but
yeah, right.
But then we recorded the Fat EP in, I think, 2 hours, the whole thing. So that wasn't really a thing either. And by the time we learned how to play and kind of got good enough to play and to feel like we sort of know what we sound like, we had gotten sick of all those first songs, and we had written, the new ones are way better. Those ones suck, right? That kind of thing. So these were like the first things we ever did as a band, and it's those memories, that feeling when you're rocking, the first time you're rocking with other people, whoa, you only get that feeling one time, you know.
As you said, a lot of these original songs, they were written when Milo wasn't even the singer of the band yet. He was just a fan who would hang out in the garage with you guys, if I'm not mistaken. Was he the original?
It's pretty
singer?
funny because we practiced way to the south down in Long Beach, but Milo lived north of me. So I'd have to go north and pick up Milo and bring him to practice so he could watch us practice. And then one day, Frank and Tony were getting really tired of trying to play and sing at the same time. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Frank just goes, "Man, fuck this. Milo, you fucking sing it." And that was it.
That scene exactly happened when the Ramones like started playing too.
How?
Well, it was, I think it was Joey on drums. It was Dee Dee on bass, Johnny on guitar, and Dee Dee was trying to sing, but he just couldn't sing and play at the same time. He just didn't have that muscle memory to him.
I don't know how people do that.
It's hard.
Well, plus for the kind of music we do, it's hard. For some music, it's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're kind of doing that kumbaya thing and I went to the store, got myself some asparagus. Yes, you can do that, but not the way we play. It's kind of harder.
It's true. But then Joey, they were like, "Yeah, Joey, you just sing," and then the rest is history, obviously. So it's funny
Who played drums?
Well, that was Tommy, because Tommy
I'm saying, was Tommy just standing there like Milo was?
Tommy was their manager at the time.
He
was just their manager. Yeah. So they were like, "Hey, just get your ass on the drums real quick, see what happens."
I'm pretty sure my guys don't know this story. As soon as I hang up the phone with you, or whatever you call this, hang up the internet with you, I'm going to tell those guys, because that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
we're in good company. What do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes, exactly. And you've been around so many talented people in your very long career. I kind of wonder, what's the dynamic like when you have someone like Milo as a singer versus someone like Henry Rollins as a singer?
I take each thing as a new thing. Like, okay, now I got, Doug Carey in the band. Well, he's good at X, Y, and Z. And he's maybe not as good at A, B, and C. Now I'm in a band and Henry's singing. Okay, well, Henry's good at X, Y, and Z. Like, each thing just has their own, they have their own strong points. I mean, I can't even, if I start counting, look what I count, who I've been in a band with, who I've been on stage with. I can't, they say if you aren't great, if you're smart enough to surround yourself with great people, then you can do okay. And so, yeah, here's Bill. Yeah.
And speaking also of your production credits, you got a pretty amazing rap sheet, not just in punk rock, but As I Lay Dying as well, like some of the best Rise Against records. I'm a giant Frenzal Rhomb fan, and your production on those last two records like completely elevated that band.
Those guys are brilliant. When they're with us and when we're recording, it is the best, funnest time. I cannot wait. I think I have them on the calendar for maybe next spring or something. Oh, I can't wait. They're beautiful. They're wonderful people. We love them so much. Consider the bands that let me record them, like Propaganda, Audio Karate, Wilhelm Scream, Rise Against, Good Riddance. Like, yeah, it's good when you can just let people do their thing, and then like when it's that, I call that the unseen hand. Mm-hmm. Let them do the thing, right? But just make sure you're using good mics and you got them in the right spots. You don't fuck about. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't get in. Don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then some bands, I get in there and next thing I'm picking up the guitar and, hey man, why don't we go to E flat on the bridge? I try to be a team player. One of my mentors said to me, he goes, yeah, it's like when a band shows up with me it's like, okay, I'm crawling into bed with them for 3 weeks, and I'm in the band. I'm in the band. My vote isn't any bigger or smaller than any of the other members. And then I'm in the band. And then, okay, there's the record we made together. And that can take a lot of different forms. It could be me writing parts, or like helping vocal melodies, arranging backing vocals, singing backing vocals, playing parts on guitar or bass that are tricky, whatever I have to do, whether it's everything or nothing, I'm there to do that, whatever that is. And it's good if I can recognize when nothing is needed and do nothing. And then if I can recognize when I have to get heavy-handed, or else they're going to have a crappy record, and then do what must be done, roll up the sleeves and get a little bit of mud, Yeah.
What's coming up next for the Descendents? I know you guys are going to be playing Punk Rock Bowling soon, but maybe after that, what's next?
We might have a little big tour announced that I can't talk about till they announce it. And we are working on a new record too. Stefan's songs and Stefan's and Milo's songs they're all done. They're recorded. Everything's done, and I've just been mixing them, piddling with them. Sometimes I kind of take my sweet time. We take our sweet time as a band when we record. Carl and I haven't really finished our songs yet. I'm always the last guy. I mean, I can't finish them. It would be egotistical. It would be egotistical of me to say, well, it's because I'm a perfectionist. It's not that. I can't make up my mind how I want them to go. Cole Porter would laugh you out of the room if you played this for him.
I feel so spoiled of Descendants stuff, because you used to have to wait such a long time in the last few decades to get a new Descendants album, and we're getting I
feel like we've cut it down to like 4 years now.
Yeah, it's like we're almost getting through. We're gonna get like 3 new albums in maybe like 5 years.
We'll see how we do. I gotta finish. I know I'm gonna be the last guy. Just like on the last record, the whole record was done, and I just I don't have them finished. They're not finished. They're never gonna be finished.
Well, thanks so much for your time today, man. I really, really appreciate all the insight. Thanks for all the music. I can't wait for that new Frenzel record and new Descendants record. It's gonna be great.
Strange, dear, but true, dear. When I'm close to you, dear, the stars. Well, I gotta hop. The stars fill the sky. So in love with you am I. Even without you, my arms fold about you. You know, darling, why so in love with you am I. In love with the night mysterious, the night when you first were there. In love with the joy delirious, when I knew that you could care. So taunt me and hurt me, deceive me, desert me. I'm yours till I die. So in love, so in love, so in love with you, my love. Am I?